In this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, a daring young politician calls on President Paul Biya to step down as he clocked 85. Today, we tell you as well in this newscast how hundreds of CPDM supporters who converge on the nation's capital, Yaoundé, this Tuesday, indicated that the President of the Republic of Cameroon should run as candidate during the 2018 presidential elections in the country. Plus, we tell you how hundreds of security forces have been deployed in the northwest region of Cameroon to uncover the whereabouts of the missing divisional officer for Batibo subdivision. Those are headlines. We shall be right back. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away in politics. A young politician has told his grandfather, those were his words, President Paul Biya, to quit power on his birthday. It should be noted that the President of the Republic of Cameroon clocks 85. This Tuesday, Christian Jock says that it is normal to wish him happy birthday, but abnormal for him to compete with his grandchildren to stay at the helm of the Republic of Cameroon. Let's have the details of that report with Babla Jonathan.
13th February, the President's Day. Paul Biya was born on this day in 1933 in Vokmeka, Meumesala subdivision, Ja and Lobo division, South Province of Cameroon at the time, 85 years down memory lane. Birthday messages are streaming in on social media, with some asking, where is the birthday cake? Others, like this Facebook writer, publish details of his biography and political career.
Oui, quand on a un an de plus et...
Christian Jock, a young politician, says 85 years is a whole lifetime. Thus, it is but normal to wish happy birthday to grandfather.
À cet âge, on est quelquefois frappé.
But he thinks grandfather should quit the political scene after 35 years of service as president and over 60 in the administration.
Nous demandons simplement au papy.
He says Paul Biya should not compete with his grandchildren, but should rather advise and guide them for the well-being of the nation and her people.
Babla Jonathan there, taking a look at the view of a young politician calling on the President of the Republic to step down. He has been in power for 35 years. Now, he took over power. That was in 1982. It should be noted that in a heavily attended ceremony that took place in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today, CPDM party supporters described Mr. Biya as their natural candidate, calling on him to remain candidate during the presidential election that will be organized in Cameroon this 2018. It should be noted that the meeting of CPDM party supporters that took place today, attended by several ministers as well as administrative authorities in the nation's capital, and they took place in the absence of the President of the Republic of Cameroon himself. Now we take you to the northwest region of Cameroon to take a look at the situation in that part of the country, where is the divisional officer for Batibo in the northwest region of Cameroon. More than 48 hours after his disappearance, officials in the northwest region of Cameroon are still seeking answers. Our Bamenda-based correspondent told us that was barely a few hours ago that hundreds of security forces have been deployed in Batibo and other surrounding localities in Momo division to uncover the whereabouts of Namata Marcel Diteng. Frederick Takang cabled this report.
Up till now, the search of the Dio of Batibo is still continuing. More than 400 military men, especially the B, were deployed to that area to see if they can locate the Dio who was kidnapped on the 11th of February 2018. So the situation in Batibo remains tense because inhabitants in that area are in their various homes. They are not coming out because the army is there and they are afraid to come out. And also what we know, the road between Bamenda and Enugu passes through Batibo, so even activities in that same road is for now on hold. So the situation is still And then the SDO of Momo said yesterday that there are indications that maybe by today, who knows, they can be able to locate the DO of Batibo. So we are still waiting. And in Bamenda, there is relative calm after the celebration of 11th of February. People are going to their various activities this morning, but there is still tension in the air.
That is a reporter in the northwest region of Cameroon, Frederick Takang, painting the atmosphere in that part of the country. Should be noted that Honorable Joseph Mbandam has equally reacted as far as the situation is concerned. He told journalists that he has equally discussed to journalists that the unknown kidnappers actually took many by surprise. That was on the morning of 11 February 2018. That was last Sunday. He was picked up even before the March Past Parade that did not take place. He indicated that it disrupted activities to mark the 52nd edition of the National Youth Day that took place in Batibo subdivision of the northwest region of Cameroon. And it should be noted that Honorable Joseph Mbandam has equally insisted that he is planning to run as candidate of the Social Democratic Front primaries in view of the presidential elections, and that his intentions are unchanged. He was speaking today to our correspondent in the northwest region of Cameroon, Bo Stella. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
I want to take this opportunity to talk to the militants of my party, the Social Democratic Front, to say that this morning I had repeated calls from around Cameroon that had decided to withdraw from the race. I want to reiterate and insist here that I have taken no such decision, and I have not spoken to anybody saying that I'm withdrawing from the rest, and I also must take this opportunity to insist and say that I am the candidate for the choice of the president. That is not a manipulation from one of us or from some of our militants who might not want, who do not favor my candidacy, or that it should not be that is coming from one of us who is preparing to stand.
We could see there that was Honorable Joseph Mbandam of the Social Democratic Front insisting that plans to run as candidate of the Social Democratic Front primaries in view of the presidential election in Cameroon are unchanged. He was speaking, that was today, in the northwest region of Cameroon. He's going to be running alongside Honorable Joshua Osi and Honorable Nchinda Fobi. Now we come back here to the economic capital Douala to talk about 10 sacked personnel delegates at the Douala City Council that embarked on a hunger strike that was since the early hours of this morning in front of the City Council premises. They vow to continue with the strike action until they are reintegrated into the said institution. It should be noted that they were led off by the government delegate Dr. Princeton Entone, despite a decision by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security for the delegate to reverse his decision. Details with Innocent Aze.
11 months after the government's delegates to the Douala City Council suspended 10 personnel delegates for organizing a strike action demanding better working conditions, the reintegration into their functions despite orders from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is not a preoccupation to Dr. Fritz Ntone.
Monsieur le délégué du gouvernement, nous donne l'impression que nous ne sommes pas dans une république.
Life has not been easy on the part of the 10 personnel delegates.
Beaucoup n'arrivent pas à faire soigner leurs enfants. Les enfants ne sont pas scolarisés.
No employment, working incentive, salary to feed their children and take care of themselves.
L'ensemble de l'opinion nationale et internationale.
They have not been able to have access into their offices to fish out their personal documents and belongings. Reasons why the 10 personnel delegates decided Thursday to undertake a hunger strike in front of the council.
Nous sommes ici pour porter à la face
that the local and international community be aware of the unjust treatment meted on them by their boss, the government delegate.
La nouvelle loi sur les loyers.
They are vowed to prolong the strike action until they are reintegrated 11-month salary paid them and indemnified.
De salaire et nos indemnités qu'on nous permette de rentrer dans nos bureaux.
Every attempt to reclaim their job has failed.
Et rien n'a bougé jusqu'à présent.
Even writing to Cardinal Christian Tomé could not soften the heart of Dr. Frix Ntonné.
Monsieur le délégué du gouvernement qui est resté lettre morte.
The striking personnel delegates were 10 in number. One was compelled to completely detach himself from the Douala City Council.
And stakeholders in the customs sector were in the southwest region of Cameroon have been urged to be vigilant and assist custom authorities in fighting illegal and contraband goods to encourage a safe business environment in that part of Cameroon. The call was made by the governor of the southwest region of Cameroon, Bernardo Kaliabila, as he was chairing activities to mark the custom day that was in Limbe. Davis Maimo has the details.
Southwest Governor Bernardo Kaliabila dished out firm instructions for the local administration, related services and the chief of Wovi and Buta land, not leaving out other villages along the coast, to fully collaborate with the Cameroon customs in fighting illegal and contraband goods entering the country through these areas.
Considering numerous factors which are threatening to jeopardize commercial exchanges, demonstrate a sense of high awareness about the security challenges mentioned above by adopting proactive professional attitudes or references and by putting in place innovative security and surveillance methods and strategies.
In his opening address, the new Southwest Chief of Customs, Awonom Bende Thomas, said the task that lies ahead of the custom this year is enormous.
Les responsables de douane, anciens et nouveaux, conscients de la bienveillance et de la sollicitude que vous leur accordez, sont conçus avec la base du directeur général des douanes.
In one of the three presentations made by Lieutenant Takem Enotabi of the Customs on the theme, the secure business environment for economic development, the customs sector has a lot of obstacles and challenges.
Marimbo's have been put at our disposal by the hierarchy, but they are all stationed at our warehouses, waiting for the suppliers to come and set them up for usage. This has made us to be unable to undergo patrols at sea. The second is that the local population sympathizes with smugglers.
The ceremony equally witnessed the presentation of 5 newly appointed customs officials of Ekok, Lobe, Keblimbo, Idinau, and Bota, not leaving out the new Southwest Chief of Sector, all officially installed into their function by the Governor of the Southwest region.
We remain in the southwest region of Cameroon to add that the budget of 600 million francs CFA has been voted for the running of the Limbe Nautical Arts and Fishery Institution. The amount was voted during the institution's board meeting that took place in the presence of the Minister of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Industries, Dr. Tiger. The budget this year has dropped drastically compared to that of 2017, as Davis Maimo once again tells us.
The board meeting bringing together members of related services as stakeholders to this institution aimed at drafting the budget to run the institution for 2018-2019 academic year.
It is with immense pleasure that I am here today to preside over the first organization of the Board of Directors of the Limbe Nautical Art and Fishery Institute. This session is a budgetary session. It is devoted to the examination and adoption of the Lemefi budget for 2018 financial year.
After close to 4 hours in camera, board members finally came out sweating as deliberation of the budget for 2018 school year is said to have witnessed a drop of the budget due to a drastic drop of funds from the Ministry of Finance. Dr. Eta Collins Ayuk is a director of the Limbe Nautical Art and Fisheries Institution.
The budget, I will give an approximate value. It's about 600 million. Last year, the budget was, we had 600 million from assignation from the Minister of Finance. But this year, we had 150. And that is why the budget
is lower than the budget of last year. Last year we had 948 million, 205,000.
Some of the institution units are said not to be fully utilized, which can help to boost the institution running budget.
Is to put into place a communication plan so that we can sell the school and sell our facilities.
The Limbe Nautical Arts and Fishery Institution, which is the best in the entire Central African sub-region, is a professional institution that trains students and workers who upgrade their skills, ship electrician and mechanical maintenance, known as deep sea fishing engineering, fishing technology, and many more.
That is Davison Maimo there reporting. Before we talk about the situation in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Buea as a result of the socio-political unrest that has been rocking the Northwest and the Southwest regions of Cameroon for close to 2 years now, we should take you right away to news out of Cameroon. The governing party in South Africa, the African National Congress, has formally asked President Jacob Zuma to resign top leadership as the ANC decided to recall Mr. Zuma urgently, though the scandal-hit president is still in power. He is expected to respond to the request, that is Wednesday, tomorrow. According to officials of the ANC political party, Jacob Zuma had already told officials of the ANC political party that he was willing to stand down in the next 3 to 6 months, and it should be noted that he has been in power since 2009 and his government has suffered several corruption scandals lately. That is the situation in South Africa, while the African National Congress is expecting a response from the scandal-hit South African President Jacob Zuma. That's going to be tomorrow. Before we take you to the second part of this newscast, let us take a look at the atmosphere in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Buea. Peace that has left Buea since the Anglophone crisis escalated. In the second part of this newscast, our guests will be talking about it, but before them, Derek Jato spoke with some agents of peace in the region, as well as some civil society actors, and compiled the following report.
The urgent need for the recuperation of moral values that has today disappeared, especially among the youth, has taken the Southwest Regional Office of the National Civic Service Agency for Participation in Development and its volunteers to the campus of the University of Buea.
You see, when you move the campaign, I call it campus stop, to the university campus where they have a majority of the students, we are trying to make them understand that their education is priority, especially during this period of crisis that we have in the country, that schools are going on now. This normalcy is very important to them. They should have to learn about dressing code, the protection of the environment, and a lot of other virtues that we are trying to inculcate to them.
The students who stopped by at the stands for lectures saluted the initiative.
The level of drug consumption in society, most especially among youth, it's very alarming.
But also call on the agency to extend the civic education campaign into the neighborhood where drugs abuse, for instance, is steadily rising and perturbed.
Reach those areas where in the suburbs or the villages or these quarters where.
Responding, Mr. Eno Daniel Abo, the agency's Southwest Regional Coordinator, said he is taking the campaign into the neighborhood in the days ahead.
I want to assure you that we are not ending this campaign here in the university. We are going to move to the neighborhoods, the quarters. We have the equipment, the materials.
Also present was Madam Liunga Susan, the Southwest Regional Delegate of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, who revealed that the civic education campaign is part of the activities ahead of the 2018 National Youth Day celebration.
I think we are here with regards to the 52nd edition of the Youth Day celebration here in Buea, and this activity is one of the activities carved out in the 11th Day Youth Day celebration.
The promotion of this civic education campaign is taking place under the theme, the importance of youth participation and involvement in the development of the nation.
Derek Jato with that package in the Southwest region of Cameroon, bringing us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Stay with us. We told you in the course of this newscast how for more than 48 hours now, the divisional officer for Batibo subdivision in the northwest region of Cameroon, his whereabouts is still unknown. Security as well as administrative authorities are multiplying efforts to uncover his whereabouts. Our guest tonight is an opposition leader, the president of the PADEC political party, Mr. Jean de Diomomo. You are equally a barrister at law. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Good evening, Mimi Mefo. Good evening, televiewers, and good evening of our brothers and sisters of Southwest and Northwest.
Thank you so much. The unknown armed individuals picked up the divisional officer for Batibo that we have been talking about since the 11th of February, and for over 2 days now, his whereabouts is unknown. This is the first time that a civil administrator is captured, and for several hours now, we don't yet know where he is or who took him away. How can you explain the target of the attackers whose identity up to now remains unknown?
We have to understand the signification of this matter. If the attackers target the officials, that means we are really involved in the war in Northwest and Southwest. It is not an easy matter to plan the arrestation of somebody like that, to plan and catch somebody who is command the gendarmes and military. They have to be a good organization, and this means that it is not a simple matter, because it looks like the answer of the attackers to the government arrestation of the leaders, Anglophone leaders in Nigeria. This looks like an answer. So that means they don't want to dialogue anymore. Here is the point of no return that I was afraid for, because if somebody can remember, I told people on this TV and the other TV that this matter has to be taken very carefully. Not like before, we just treat many things by force. This need to be very well understanding that they are claiming for something. A part of this country are claiming for something. And that part of the country is ready for the sacrifice of themselves. So when it happens, when you have to deal with somebody who has no choice than to die, who is not afraid to die, be ready yourself, you can die. So the people, the officials that are in the office now, they have understood that they are not in security in the home.
Whereas the government has made Cameroonians and the international community to understand that authorities as well as security forces that are equally being targeted, because yesterday we had confront information from the Defense Ministry that 3 gendarme officials were killed, brutally murdered in Kembong, in Manyu division of the southwest region of Cameroon. Whereas the government has made Cameroonians to understand that the security forces as well as local administrative authorities are there to secure the people. So how can you explain the current twist of events?
To secure the people against other people, because this is a war, a civil war really, because you don't know who is the enemy. And the enemy look like you and me. The adversary, the one who you are fighting with, it is a Cameroonian like you. How can you distinguish the good and the bad? That's why I say at the beginning, let's go on the table and discuss about the change of the state. Let's sit down like we did in 1991 of what the so-called tripartite. So what is going on is you have a part of the population who are not in the war, but they pay the big price. They are running through Nigeria to escape. But you have another party who are involved in the one who say we have to defend our motherland, and they are ready to die. So if you have declared a war with, between you and those people, be ready to fight the war. And we understood that if we don't put a dialogue, we don't say, even in the war,
are you saying security forces deployed in the Anglophone regions are not for peace mission?
No. It's not sure that, okay, the official mission is for peace mission. But for peace mission means you have to fight people against the civilian. How can you distinguish the civilian? And what is the problem there? The problem there is not starting now. Before they started killing the gendarmes, who was killing who? The forces, the police, the force that was supposed to secure the population start killing the people. The reaction is, I told them that time, the reaction should be that the population will defend themselves. If we started by torture the people, if you go there, you are for civil servant. When I say this is my truth. People will be against me because I said it. But you have to look the past. You have to say the truth when it starts like this. When it comes to the civil war, we have to watch the truth, to say the truth, and to save what is to save. Because if you don't say to them that you starting, it was just a demonstration, pacific demonstration, you started torturing people. When it comes to violent demonstration, you start killing the people. Now you start killing yourself, the people, and you expected that the people will not kill the gendarmes? You expected really that the people will not hide themselves and take the revenge? We don't want that.
So Ms. Barrister, another curiosity is a day that it took place on the 11th of February. We saw how there was heavy military presence in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon, especially on the ceremonial ground. Why would it take place on such a day when there is reinforcement of security almost all over?
Yes.
What does it mean?
That means they don't fear nobody and nothing. And this is the sign of the great determination of what we have in front of us, of who we have in front of us, on who the Cameroonian military have in front. You have in front people who are ready to die, and who attacks when you think that the security measure is there, and who attack the chief and catch him, and we don't know the whereabouts. People say maybe he has been killed, but we don't know. We have not the official version.
Like you said earlier, you had indicated before and even on October 2017 that you were very concerned about the prevailing situation in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon, and that in the long run, if nothing is done, it could escalate to something else.
I say it, yes, it's true. Remember what I say. It's true. It's going to it becomes worse and worse days and days. And I say it, please, sit down. It's nothing very, very criminal to sit down with your people. And I remember what I said that time. I said, you, Mr. President, do you have your power from the people? If it is so, sit down with those people who elected you and discuss. Because you are a mandataire. If you have a mandate, if you are represented with the people, sit down with the people, and the people want to change the form of the government. You are not the only concern. It is not your country. It is our country. We are concerned about the form of the state. You cannot just say, I'm the head of state and I am refusing to discuss about the form of the state. If we notice that the centralization during 60 years didn't bring us to the development, and if the people think that maybe federalism could change something in the daily life, in the comfort, in the way that the Cameroon should grow up, sit down with us. Or if you are a foreigner, you don't have your power through us, through the power, the people. Okay, send the army and fight them. And what is they do?
You equally noted that the problem is because a majority of Cameroonians today do not really have a clue of what is happening, because if they understood the stakes and what the Anglophone population actually want, the situation will be different. Now you're talking about dialogue. Can it be possible when you say that several people are not really understanding the stakes of what is happening?
What they don't understand, because nobody explained to them. Explain to them that federalism don't mean secession, separation. They think that if you put the state comes to the federalism, it is like you are preparing the division, the separation of the state into two parts. This is false. This is not true. And we have to explain this to the people. And even those people with of the government, they have to explain what is the truth to the people. And what is the truth? It is this. The actual form of the state is the centralization to one single person, a head of state who appear like a god, who give and remove when he want. And Anglophone people want a federalism, which means give our own part at the beginning of the year. Everyone has his own budget. Everyone has his own money to deal with his own people, to deal with own government, to build his state, to build his school, his health care of his population. Which is for the good of the nation. Yeah. You don't put in the same pocket to give to a single one. This is admissible. This is very admissible that if we put our money in the only single pocket, the pocket of Paul Biya, nobody eat it. They finish the money in Yaoundé. Divide it into many states, so that we people of down of the poor people, we could have the masses of people, we could have a little bit part of it. This is what we are fighting for. And those people of Yaoundé, they don't want to hear about it, because for 60 years they have eaten our common money. We don't see anything down. And now we started asking, give our part. This is simply the problem.
The form of government that needs to be changed, Barrister. Now, Barrister, the situation, like you said, is escalating and getting worse in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. What is the way forward? What is the solution?
I'm afraid that now...
Because you gave the impression that dialogue to take place now is too late.
Yes,
don't you think?
I'm afraid that now we have the radicalization of the part that was able to sit down and discuss. We attend the summit of the radicalization that those people who kidnapped the DO are ready to die for what they think it is the duty. The duty is to die for the country. So how could you discuss with somebody who is ready to die? Look, the Arabs, when they put the bombs and go to explode, that one you cannot say kill yourself. You cannot. Somebody who is ready to kill himself, who is ready to die, how could you discuss with someone?
So what is the way forward, Barrister, if you were to give some proposals or solutions?
The solution is that Mr. Paul Biya calm down, because he is the master that we have built, or the monster, somebody can call like this, but he is the master of the situation. Calm down and speak to your people. Not the way that you characterize them as a terrorism and separatism. The separatists are not forcibly a terrorist. A terrorist is different of the separatists. When I remember 1958 to 1960, before the independence, the people of UPC was calling terrorism the Maquisard. So later on, they recognized them as a national hero. So please, remember the past. When we are discussing for our country, remember that tomorrow you will recognize that those people who were in the truth. Who tell you that you are in the truth? You are not God. Nobody is God. But we can see that there's a problem facing by Anglophone region and many other regions as well. But the Anglophone are the ones who are fighting for. Many Francophones including people from Kam, from Bam, from Bamileke. They are suffering from North. They are suffering. They are sending the memorandum to Paul Biya to say, please give us this, give us this. We don't want a God in power. We don't want that God replace human being in power. That the president become the God that we will come to beg to beg. The system, Anglophone system of indirect rule is different. Because in the indirect rule, it is not a president who is giving every God. It is the parliament who decide everything. You have the same system in South Africa. Look what is happened in South Africa. Yes, they are ready to step down the president because the parliament represents the whole country. And the parliament is the one who decides. You know why the centralization is bad? Because the centralization has been introduced by the colonizer to have a single person that they can catch him and say, sell all this, sell your country, give us this, give us that. But the indirect rule doesn't permit that. The indirect rule, the president cannot decide himself. It's only the parliament, or to corrupt 280 parliamentarians. It's not easy as to corrupt a single person, you know.
Of course.
Yes.
Now, Barrister, you were talking about leadership in Cameroon, and we are just few weeks to the senatorial elections. Would PADEC be taking part?
How could we take part when the electoral corps is not ready? The electoral corps to elect the senator, municipal councillor and regional councillor. Where are the regional councillor? Do we have? We have municipal councillor, but we don't have regional councillor because we have not organized it. How can you organize the senatorial without when the electoral corps is not constituted? This is absolutely illegal and dictatorial. So how can we go? Even we go, we cannot win. It's just that
you are aware already that if you go, you not win because
we can win without.
PADEC has very few councils.
Very few councils. We were waiting to organize municipal council and regional council now to gain many places, to gain many mayors and many regionals, and after you can organize the Senate. But during what they say, what they plan is just a plan to be sure that only the CPTM will have senators. Even the SDF, who is trying to go, I'm not sure the SDF will get something. How many?
SDF already has 14 senators.
Yes, but you know that it was with the help of the CPTM.
It's not verified, Barrister.
No. How can we say that in the north the CPTM give the instruction, and in the noon, you remember that the CPTM give the instruction to his people to elect the SDF, and you do remember that they disqualified a list of the CPTM.
Yes, there were lists that were disqualified because they did not meet up to the expectations.
I'm not too much sure.
that is mere speculation, Barrister.
I'm not too much sure.
And how is your view of the electoral year now, looking at the situation in Cameroon, the social, economic, and political situation in Cameroon now?
The situation is really bad, but people are against the government, but nobody wants to register for vote. Nobody trusts in our system of voting. Nobody trusts Elekam. You do everything to register people. You come empty-handed. We do everything. We even put game that you will win something if you go to register. You don't get nobody. Outside, all those young people are angry with the regime. They want the regime to be changed, but no one trusts that we can change through the election. So, what, according to political science, what way remain to those people? The revolution, or the access to the power by a revolution, that is by a way who is not legal.
Or just to register and vote, Barrister?
They don't want to register and vote. And I told them, this is the good way to register. Go, we register and get the right to demonstrate. Because where you register, you put them together, you have the right to demonstrate, to say, they have not counted my vote. You have to protect your vote. You have to sit down and say, let's count together. But they don't want to understand me. I said I'm tired to say to the people, go and register for vote.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
I'm pleased to
Thank
be there.
You so much.
I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. You are very welcome.
It was equally a pleasure having with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.